Hello YouTube, this is Ron, an ex-Jehovah's Witness, reaching out to you from Central Texas. Screen name is No More Middleman. I feel compelled to make a video this evening. I had a couple experiences in the last week that I need to share with you guys that confirmed that me making a video called How JWs Are Pimped was the correct thing to do. It wasn't the easiest thing to make that video because, again, I have been around that organization since the age of 2, but I felt it was necessary to do so because I see similarities between the leadership of that organization and those individuals I was raised around growing up in Chicago. There are some striking similarities when you think about it. I didn't go over all of them in my last video, but you do put on your mental thinking caps, and as an ex-witness, there definitely are there, and some of you have commented as such under the last video I made. Why was I compelled to make this video? I'll tell you. In the last week and a half, me and my family got the opportunity to go out to the movies, to the show. And I would encourage any witnesses who are coming out, single, married, kids, couple, whatever, live your life. Enjoy it. Don't come out feeling sorry for yourself. Yes, you were duped, but now it's time to shine. It's time to get out. Relax, chill, or go for a nice walk, but get out and live your life. Make the most of it. We've been taught to keep it simple, keep a low profile, unless we're doing work for the organization. You're not under that umbrella anymore. So that's what we did. We got out. We took in a late night movie with the kids. The kids been out of school for 2 weeks for a winter break, and we took advantage of that. So went to a movie. The family goes into the theater, and I'm on dad duty, so I go to purchase at the concession stand some snacks for the movie. Standing in line, and if you don't know, I am a kind of hard guy to miss. I'm 6'6", 350, and so I'm standing in line. I feel a tap on the back of my shoulder. It's a couple. It's a couple that I'm familiar with. They're witnesses from another congregation that in the Central Texas area that I'm familiar with. And hey, Ron, how you doing? And if you don't know, this goatee I have, even though I've made a video in regards to the whole facial hair thing, because of being on chemotherapy and some other different medications, sometimes it makes my blood thin like a hemophiliac. So over the last 5 years, I've had the ability, even though I was in good standing in the congregation and still had all my privileges, I could wear a goatee at the meetings. And couldn't say nothing. I had my medical excuse. For somebody who's not in the organization, you might be looking like, why the rest even bringing up facial hair? That's natural. I'm sure they ain't got nothing against men growing facial hair. Well, in my congregation, you couldn't grow facial hair below your ear. You can grow a mustache, but anything below that was a no-no. You couldn't even have this little deal. But I did. So anyway, I'm just breaking that down because some witnesses or ex-witnesses might say, well, why didn't they know that you weren't part of the organization anymore? Because they could clearly see you had this goatee. So just to get that out of the way. Anyway, tap me on the shoulder. I see the couple, and it was refreshing to see them because, like us, I have 6 children. This couple had 5 children. So we had that in common. It's right before the movie's about to start, so I um, don't tell them that I'm no longer a witness. I go ahead and go into the movie theater. They go in behind me and sit back and chill. So anyway, about 30 minutes into the movie, my kids max the popcorn and snacks. It's time for daddy to go back and get some more from the concession stand. The brother sees me, and I'm assuming he had maxed their snacks or whatever, him and his wife, because they got a night out on the town by themselves. So he gets up and he gets, goes to the concession stand too. So he's in line behind me again. And this time I'm thinking, here is a gentleman who's married with more than a general amount of kids that witnesses have. Let me at least let them know so that after the meeting, if they, ask us what we're doing or whatever, not after the meeting, but after the movie, they ask us what we're doing, I can, give him the heads up that we're no longer witnesses. So that's exactly what I do. I turn around and I let them know, hey, bro, I just want you to know so you won't get blindsided that me and my wife and my children, we're no longer part of the organization. That's the way I put it. We're no longer part of the organization. And he looks at me and, like a deer caught in the headlights. Really? And I was like, yeah, we really left the organization. And I don't get into details because, again, we're got a movie to go back and watch. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe he'll share it with his wife, and maybe after the movie's over, he might be able to look at me and say, well, what's going on? Because I believe, even when I was in the organization, that if someone who had a similar background as me said that they were no part of the organization, I clearly saw him and his wife still together, so they're not out of the organization because somebody's cheating on somebody or, whatever. That I would be inclined to ask them, why they left. We leave the meeting, the movie's over. We all leave out together. Nothing said. And I asked my wife, well, did she say anything to you? And she said, nope, they didn't say anything to me. And I was like, okay, that was disappointing because, again, if I were in his shoes, I would hope that I would at least, my curiosity would be piqued, and I would at least say, dude, what in the world happened? Why in the world did you, this is the organization that claims it's the truth. You are not just taking yourself out, you taking your wife and kids out. So as a witness, we're taught that means that the ticket to paradise is gone. So I think I would have at least been curious to ask them, if I was in those shoes, what occurred. That didn't happen. So me and my wife discussed it, went home, went back to our regular routine, made more videos, and lived our lives. So anyway, tonight, this afternoon, this evening, my wife puts together a social event for the kids who've been out of school for the last 2 weeks. And she throws a little skating party, and I go to support it. We don't ride together because I need to go do some business before the skating event. They arrive first. I come in, and there's another witness. Actually, this brother's around 6'5", 6'6" as well. So I run into him, and when he's a brother from another congregation, not from a congregation I went to, but we're familiar with each other because we tend to stick out at conventions. Again, the height thing and all that stuff, it makes you stick out. So he's like, "What's up, Ron?" Shakes my hand, and how you doing? And I give him a firm handshake, and I walk past him first, and then I say, you know what? Because I know him, he's younger than me. Let me go back here and at least let him know I'm no longer a witness, instead of being short with him. So that's what I do. I turn around, I go back to him, I ain't even walk that far from him, but I go back and say, hey, bro, I'm not gonna use his name. I gotta let you know that me and my family are no longer witnesses. Now his spouse and his brother and his siblings, his family is there, but I keep it down. We're at a skating rink, so it's loud anyway. And he's like, "What's going on?" He's looking at me like in shock, like for real. And he doesn't shut me down. He asked me, "What in the world is going on? Why in the world would you leave this organization?" And I started mentioning things because I know now that this might be the last time I get the opportunity to speak to him. Unless he wakes up, comes out of that organization, and we get to speak again. So I tell him that back in February of 2017, I tried to witness to someone and was informed about the Australian Royal Commission. I told him I had issues with that. In regards to the pedophilia problem, I informed him about the fines that are being levied on the organization, of one being a $4,000 a day fine in one of the states, and it's nearly, it's 2 years now in the making, so that money is steady coming out, and that's something that's being paid by donations to the organization. I tell him about the issue in regards to, what else did I tell him? I told him about the issue I had with the baptismal questions, how I was led to believe that we get baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and after reviewing those baptismal questions, I no longer believe that. And I said, look, everything I'm telling you is something that you can Google. You can Google the Australian Royal Commission. You can Google the $4,000 a day fine. I told him about the $66 million class action lawsuit that's going on in Canada. I told him about the Hall, not Hall, Hall, Hull situation where they're doing a purge in the UK. And they've actually even removed some of the friends who were considered anointed in that area. I didn't go over the 1975 debacle, but what else did I tell him? Because I think we talked about 30 minutes. I told him about the baptismal situation. Well, anyway, we had a nice discussion, and it was the weirdest thing to eyewitness was that the fact that he said, at one point he said, Ron, man, you cool. I respect you as a brother, and I know you a good, honest family man. And I tell you what, I'm going to look into it. I tell him not to, once he does look into it, to make sure that when he speaks to the elders, if he has questions that he wants to present to them, do your research before you do this, and try to do it without just going into the internet in regards to getting the information from what some might consider apostate sources. If you contact courthouses and you contact official websites instead of just going to YouTube to look at things that other people have did the research on and pulled out, you can get that information if you want to. So I advise him to do that so that he has his ducks in a row if he wants to talk to the elders about what he might find. And he said he'd do that. He also said something that, kind of messed me up, because I hope I wouldn't have did this. He said, Ron, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to shun you. I'm not going to shun you. You a cool dude, and I don't think you're an apostate. And I asked him what did he think an apostate was, and I said, don't go by I want you to go by the general definition of apostate. So we had that discussion. And he said, well, I don't think you're an apostate. I think you're just trying to, talk to me and inform me in regards to what you know and why you left. He said, I'm not going to shun you, but this probably will be the last conversation we had. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, I didn't say it, but I was like, man, shoot. I hope I did not look like this last year, because I started waking up in February. So literally this time last year in January, I was still in a coma, still drinking the Kool-Aid, and still believed everything that I was being told. I questioned it, but I found a way around it to still stick with the organization this time last year in January. Actually, I was in and out of the hospital at that time too. So, man, I'm making this video because I witnessed that interaction, the interaction the week before, and this interaction. Again, I felt bad after making the video comparing the leadership to pimps, but those interactions helped me validate that you are in a situation where you're being pimped. It's not funny. I'm trying to. It's sometimes when you get upset about something, you kind of snicker just to deal with it. But it's sad. I watched grown men who I respect, who I know are articulate and intelligent, defend something that they know. As one didn't even ask me questions. The other one was like, "I'm not going to shun you, but this will be the last time I probably can speak to you." Or it's interesting. It's just something that bugs me, and I pray and I hope. I still believe in God. I hope that as things develop in this organization, as they tighten the rings around those still inside, that it jogs others to start asking serious questions and put forth the effort to possibly leave if they need to. Some might, like he told me he was diehard, and no matter what he found out, he was probably still going to stick with it. And I could see myself saying that part, that, no matter what. A couple years ago, if you had presented me some stuff, I probably would have said, no matter what, I'm still going to stick with it. But, man, it's hard to come to grips with the fact that we were in a cult, but we were. Let me give you something else in regards to the analogy I made in regards to pimps. Tell me that this doesn't sound like you getting pimped. We were taught growing up, and we even have videos of being told that we should keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. Put in all your energy into the ministry. Put in all of your energy into strengthening your family. But as you're doing so, don't go for those higher paying jobs. Don't go for those jobs that will take you away from worship. Put forth the effort. If you are living in a nice size house, if you got a nice car, go get an apartment. Go get you a point A to B car and be happy with that and enjoy life to the fullest, because, well, don't enjoy life to the fullest. Get by now, because later on you're going to be rewarded with paradise, and you'll get to enjoy life with perfect health and all those things. That eternal carrot that was dangled at us. How in the world do you tell somebody to keep it simple when you literally have property in the New York area, some nice real estate, and because you're not happy with it, because you've had it for decades, you decide to sell it and upgrade? Not only do you don't go get a construction company to build the facility, you put out the call for a global call to hardworking people who have jobs, who have homes, who have been keeping it simple, and you tell them, ask them to come and build you a new place to, reside in. That's an upgrade. They literally built a giant compound on lakefront property. that's something that if I pulled that, if I went to my, brothers or family members and said, you know what, me and my wife, we got this place, and yes, it's paid for, and we live in it, and it's cool and stuff, but it's not, it's not up to our standards. We need an upgrade. We need you to come. I know you got a job, but I need you to come to my home. Well, to my place that we got the property. All you gotta do is bring the manpower and the know-how, and would you help build me an upgraded place? Now, that's pimping. That's pimping. It's supposed to be the conclusion of the system of things. It's supposed to be the last days. We're supposed to be having. We know we're living in critical times, hard to deal with. We know that the Bible says that the conclusion of the system is supposed to be the worst period that's ever hit mankind, and you're going to upgrade your, your dwellings. How do you talk people into doing that? Only people can talk people into doing that is people who got the power of God or pimps. You're going to either be a prosperity preacher and we prosperous, or that organization's prosperous, or you're going to be a pimp. So the analogy I use in regards to witnesses being pimped is very valid, because it makes no sense. There's nowhere in the world that you should be able to pull that stuff off. I was compelled to make this video tonight. I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy your life. Take in your families. Make the most of it. And y'all have a good one. Oh, and subscribe. If you like the content, if you can get over my bungling, if you can get over my uhs and huns and stuff, subscribe to the channel. I'm genuine. This is me. This is who you see. This is me. I don't, I can talk proper if I need to, but that's not the genuine me. So you guys have a good night.